Hello, dear friends. Hope we've all had a great week. Welcome to our weekly Communities of Practice Sunday check-in session, a half hour of Dharma, reflection, and community connections. If you're a new member of our community, please accept our wholehearted welcome and know that if you're unsure or have any questions about our practices and topics, we're all here to help. And if you're a regular, well, welcome back. It is customary in Australia to begin any meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we walk, study, and reside, the Wadi Wadi people of the Darawal Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I also pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are. So just a little bit about our Sunday check-in sessions. The sessions have been developed by our Communities of Practice team and the entire community with the purpose of developing a reflective practice in response to our changing world. Guided by humanistic Buddhism, we would like to help each other cultivate our practices and build memorable friendships. If you've been following along, you know that we tend to theme our sessions based on the needs of our community and the wider world. We invite you to suggest any topics you think would be of interest and benefit so that we can continue in this spirit. Last week, we had a special Sunday check-in session as Professor Stephen Hill introduced his newly published book and spoke on a humanistic global economy. This week, Ina Denton is back to guide us as we continue on our exploration into the 6 perfections. We've already looked at generosity and morality, so today Ina will share on the perfection of diligence. Please welcome Ina.
And remind Ina to unmute. It's good to see everyone. I always think that about how we have to almost be a mathematician to study Buddhism. So tonight we're going to look at the 4s and the 3s, the 4 types of right effort and the 3 types of laziness. But first, let us let our busy minds, or maybe even our lazy minds, have a respite from the day. Even it's the end of our day, it's the beginning of your day, so perhaps this is a time for restoring self for the day. So let us do a couple minutes of meditation, sitting in a comfortable place with eyes closed or downcast, and breathe in and breathe out and become centered. And now let us re-enter our community with one another and talk a bit about diligence. As we look at diligence, it's known in the Noble Eightfold Path as right effort. And this two seems to be interchangeable. So I'm going to interchange them too. Might use the word diligence or the right effort as we go through this. The generic definition of diligence is just stick to the task, meet challenges, and don't quit till the job is done. But what are all diligent tasks? Ananda, as you see here in a quote from the Venerable Master's book, Ananda gives a good description. He says that diligence is to continual work for good causes and is necessary for spiritual and mundane success. He also cautions us about laziness, but we're going to get to that a little later because that's kind of where we're going to focus this evening. The Buddha has a more focused and refined definition that is found in various texts. He speaks of arising, non-arisen, arisen, arising, but I think we can simplify it in a way and just say that the Buddha tells us to bring good into existence, to maintain the good that is already here, keep the bad from occurring, and when we see bad, eliminate it. In essence, create, maintain, prevent, eliminate. And to make it simpler, still, I found this, you can Google anything these days. I found this, and it says for diligent balance, you develop and maintain the good that pushes up one side, and you avoid and overcome the bad, so that we have a homeostasis. We have to do it all, though. We have to not just create good, as it shows in this little teeter-totter. I think of it as a teeter-totter, but also eliminate bad. Right effort means doing right things right, and it requires a disciplined, mindful mind. But then the Buddha admonishes us not to be lazy. And he has an answer to what laziness is. Let's see how this fits for us. He says that laziness is procrastination. Couch potato, second cup of coffee, hitting the snooze button in the morning. Also doubt, that the can't do or I don't know how attitude. Well, that's too hard. I'm too old. I'm too young. I've never done that before. Creates a laziness for us. And then he also says being busy can be lazy. That when we never take a break and we're always on the go, how are we caring for ourselves? Now, I get the difference between snoozing and regenerative resting. I also get the fear of trying new things, but then stretching our mind, whether it's understanding the Dharma or learning a new task in our homes or at work. And I know that I should continue to build confidence and skill. But what about this business of being busy as laziness, especially when we're doing virtuous things? Can this be detrimental? And I ran across Venerable Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo's book, Into the Heart of Life. And she talks about 3 kinds of laziness and gave an example of how busy can keep you from being. She talked about an Australian monk, quote, who was once occupied with doing so many wonderful Dharma activities that he became a workaholic. He would be up until 2 and 3 in the morning, and eventually he collapsed totally. She went on to conclude, quote, his problem was that his identity was connected with doing. As his work was for the Dharma, it looked very virtuous. It looked like he was doing really good things. He was benefiting many people and carrying out the instructions of his teacher. But now that he can't do anything, who is he? And what she concluded with, she said, he found it threatening not to do anything, to just sit there and be with who he is, not with what he does. She teaches that doing good things is a good thing, but then cautions us. But if we are not careful, they can just be an escape. We need to have both the active and the contemplative. We need time to just be with ourselves and to become genuinely centered when the mind can just be quiet. She says there has to be breathing in as well as breathing out. So, the Venerable, Ananda, the Buddha, all tell us that procrastination and wasting time is laziness, but restorative rest is a type of right effort. Doubting and adapting a can't-do attitude is laziness, but acknowledging limitations and seeking to overcome them is diligent practice. And being busy for self-identity, for ego, for meeting others' expectations, and an inability to prioritize is an escape from diligence. And just perhaps in our busy state of wanting to do good, we miss the good that needs to be done. So we have a few questions to think about this evening. And by the way, I don't know where this patch comes from. It came from Google, but I don't know who uses it, but I just love it. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just really busy. And then we have to look at what are we busy about and are we missing what needs to be done? So why don't we do some thinking about why we procrastinate, and am I procrastinating or just immobilized out of doubt and lack of self-worth or confidence? And how can I make certain that I'm busy for the right reasons? What is that checklist that we can have to make certain we're on the right track? And what practices that we have learned in our Buddhist study will assure that we're caring for ourselves and others diligently? And now Liam is going to work his magic and put us in our little chat rooms. I need to learn how to do that, Liam.
Thanks, Ina. Thank you for your sharing as well on diligence and laziness. It's definitely been a wake-up call, I think. So now, dear community, it is over to you to discuss these questions. We'll be placed in groups of 3 to 4 to share and discuss. So in the beginning, we do spend a little bit of time just getting to know each other so we can all get a little bit more comfortable. Of course, let your discussions flow as they do, but we'll provide a few prompts here and there to guide you all. Our sessions are guided by metta, which is unconditional love and kindness for all beings. So let's use this opportunity to express and receive loving kindness to and from each other by taking time to pause, reflect, and listen. Afterwards, we'll ask you to share some of your findings with the larger group, but for now, let's break out for some rich and nourishing discussions. See you all back in 15 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed your breakout groups. Now it's time to condense all that wisdom and just type it in the chat box. Anything you learned from your breakout groups that you'd like to share. And what we'll do is we'll collect them all and turn them into a great big poster, and we'll send it through to you midweek. And now I'll hand over to Ina just to read out some of the wisdom in the chat box. Go for it, Ina.
Alrighty, I will pull it open here. Self-compassion and mindfulness, empathy for others to understand their standpoint and view. Oh, and we'll be talking about that with patience next week. Perfectionism, fear of failure and self-criticism can lead to procrastination. Yeah, it's the doubt leads to the procrastination, which means then we're not fulfilled. Diligence, keep reminding oneself, become routines, become habits. Example, mindful check-in meditation. Resistance, laziness in all its forms is just me trying to avoid the pain of self-criticism. Yeah, if we do it and it doesn't work out well, then we sort of beat ourselves. The middle path is an important component of any activity, whether laziness or busyness. Take time to reflect and remember our why. I like that. That's Priscilla. It's like, why are we doing it?
Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll keep those coming, and we'll condense them all into a poster for you, and we'll send them out later. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this Sunday check-in session. We really hope it was helpful to all of you and that you experience the unconditional love and compassion of this entire community. For anyone that might be experiencing a greater need that what today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email, or you can also reach out to the professional organizations on the screen here. We hope you've enjoyed our exploration into the first 4 of the 6 perfections, and maybe that you've even perfected them yourselves. But alas, there's always more work to do. So next week, we're inviting Ina back for more. So be sure to check in with us as we have a look into patience next week. We're also on the lookout for more inspiring stories, and we always love to hear from our community. So if you would like to share your turning point, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us via email, or just hang around after the session for a bit of a chat. For now though, as we check out today, let's recite the dedication of merits together to send love and compassion to each other and whoever is in need.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today for the check-in session. Now we'll continue with our usual post-check-in discussions, so please stay around for the next half an hour or so if you do have time. Otherwise, we'll see you all again next Sunday, the 31st of July at 11 a.m. Thanks everyone.